especially with the genocide that is taking place in I call it a Holocaust and the war, we need to look at the different aspects that actually affect the people in Palestine. And it's really heart-wrenching to think of what they going through. I watch every single day, and I must say, eventually it starts affecting you in many directions. I think we need to thank Allah that we're in the space to be able to stand here today and assist in whichever way we can. So do go out, donate to the different organizations, try and make that difference, assist in whichever small way you can. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, a phenomenal gentleman, Zakaria Radaideh. And he is a Palestinian half-Greek student at Wits University. He's studying his honors in psychology, which I think is imperative. And the reason I'm saying this, I know he spent some time in Palestine with his cousins, and he learned the language, he learned the culture, many different things. But today I think he's going to really tap into a subject that I don't think has been looked at from us from a holistic level. And I think that's very important. It's imperative for us to understand the trauma, the mental trauma that these people are going through. It's not just about the food. It's not about the aid. It's not necessarily just about the war. What is happening to the mental state of not just only the elderly and the older people and the adults, but the children of Palestine? Just imagine, we watch those horrific scenes every single day. But do we question ourselves and ask ourselves, how do we assist as far as that is concerned? And that's where he comes in today. He's going to discuss the mental impact of displacement and genocide on these very people and children. A warm welcome to Zakaria.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And a good afternoon to everyone. So as you've heard, I'm going to speak a lot about psychology in the perspective that hasn't been addressed much. So mental health and well-being. I want to start by a quote, something my father said coincidentally very recently, just Thursday. He said, when I came to the country, Allah just blessed me repeatedly, and I've just been enjoying myself repeatedly. Not stressing about anything, just enjoying it. And I'm thinking at this time, what am I going to speak about today? And I think that's a great point to start with. The gratitude that the Palestinians would develop in a situation that we have now is immense. We'll forget and we complain so much, so easily about what's happening, let's say, for example, the electricity, power cuts. So much complaints. As soon as we scroll through an Instagram post, those complaints completely go away, completely disappear, and we get a perspective. This perspective, so what we see on the news, it's basically an anchor to our perspective, to the reality. It's a reminder to what this life actually is. It's not just chasing more entertainment. So what psychology teaches, especially with the youth, is that around the age of 5, up to the age of 5, 6 years old, it's a foundational phase that would affect someone for the rest of their lives. And we can only imagine what happens to the future of the Palestinian children, especially in Gaza. These children not only struggle physically with hunger and with thirst, the heat, and the physical danger and harms coming to them, but they also suffer from a mental pain, basically a psychological attack from the Israelis. This attack hinders so much of their future, their ability to build relationships, their ability to build themselves and their well-being. I wish to tell a story. When my father was young, when he grew up in Palestine, his life was obviously very different. He fought in 3 intifadas, which is a resistance, a rebellion, or an uprising. He got arrested each time. He spent a lot of time in jail. He spent a lot of time in the isolation chambers because he wouldn't really obey the Israelis in the jail. And after I started studying psychology, I really could see the effect it has on him and how much he's fought and sacrificed to repress such effects for his family. Based on what I saw, I can easily say to all of you with confidence, it's not easy. There's a lot of work to do on the mental health for the Palestinian children. So it's very good. We're all donating. We're all raising awareness. We're all trying to help each and every Palestinian in their situation. We cannot forget the mental aspect because this is the future. Once the war's over, and inshallah very soon, we got to deal with the mental aspect, rebuilding not only Gaza, but the mental well-being of Gaza. So not only it can return to its normal state, but it can also thrive better than before, inshallah. You all know the word sabr. Sabr means patience and perseverance. It's linked to the Arabic word for cactus. And some scholars, they say this is because a cactus it grows in a very difficult condition. Not only does it grow, not only does it stay alive in a place like a desert where there's very, very little water, it even produces fruit, a sweet fruit from the desert sand, basically. From this, we can learn that sabr is from Allah. And from this, we can see that if a situation like what's happening to the students to the youth of Gaza, when they develop more sabr, then the fruit would not only be sweet, but would be better than what we can expect. Let's just hope we can facilitate such changes so they can improve, develop, and heal from what's going on. I wish to address the very important point, our perspective of what's happening. We see on social media so much news, so much issue, so much pain and suffering. It's very important to see, but also unhealthy if we don't address it accordingly. And I wish to address all of you on how to handle what we see. When we have a negative feeling that comes within our mind, we need to express it through an outlet, a healthy outlet. If we don't, it will be repressed into our unconscious. Too much of that will affect our future. We need to be healthy so that we can help other people around us. In psychology, a very popular example of this is when there's an issue with an airplane, it's crashing or something, the oxygen masks drop. They advise us to put the mask over ourselves first and then help the people around us, because we have to be strong first to help the people around us. So what we need to do is, when we see all of this happening in Gaza and in Palestine, we need to focus on our own well-being first so we can help the people of Gaza. What I do personally, every time I see a video, the worst thing to do is to scroll past it thinking how sad and then not addressing it again. What I do is I would make a dua, continue to make a dua until the feelings go away, and then continue scrolling or do something else more productive. So once the people of Gaza, they grow up, the youth of Gaza grow up, their strength and their gratitude would be much more. This is influential unto us, as what we see, and we've seen many non-Muslims become Muslim due to this, is their strength and their sabr and their even gratitude in a time of very great difficulty. We should be influenced by this. And I myself am influenced by my father and what I see on the news. Even my father expressed so much empathy to other people in Palestine. He had a friend who was a spy. He didn't know he was a spy, and he basically snitched on my father and his brothers, to the Israeli army. And when my father found this out, he didn't hold it against him. He's still friends with him. I ate at his house when I was in Palestine. My father had empathy for him. And I realized that any small issue that even my family or friends do to me, I myself need to be empathetic. The Ummah is one body, and when one part feels a pain, we all feel it. So what is happening now not only teaches us to be grateful for our own lives, but teaches us to have empathy for the people around us. It softens our heart, such as sabr. So basically, don't sit with the sadness or the anxiety or the worry or the grief. This will only lead to apathy. What is apathy? It's when you give up. It's when you don't have belief that you can get what you want, you can achieve your goal. Rather, you use this pain, these emotions as a fuel to do something proactive. And that's what we are doing now. We all attend this event for the sake of Palestine. This is our outlet to all the negative feelings that has happened, that we gained from viewing what has happened. This is very important that we act on it, lest we reach apathy. And so things like dua, charity, raising awareness, these all work as an outlet to the negative psychological state that we may reach. My father also said something interesting. We focus a lot on how many bullet wounds the individuals of Gaza have, but we don't consider the mental damages as an equally important psychological wound. This psychological wound can not only hinder the current state of Gaza and make the people of Gaza reach a state of apathy, but also it could hinder the development and the recovery of Gaza. These wounds need to be addressed. And inshallah, when the war is over, there needs to be a hyper focus on recovery of the psychological injuries that has occurred. Worse is the psychological damages done to the people outside of Gaza, which is basically a brainwashing technique, making the people think that they are right, that the people of Israel are right, and the people of Gaza are wrong. How can the people of Gaza still be considered terrorists? It's because of these psychological techniques, the psychological war, the brainwashing. What I will recommend in my last 2 minutes, you need to handle a crisis from the emotional standpoint rather than intellectual. So when an issue arises, when we see something so sad happening on, let's say, Instagram, on the news, we cannot just sit, intellectualize it, thinking, how can people do this? How can a human being do this? We should address it in the emotional standpoint internally, thinking, where are these emotions? What are the emotions I'm feeling? Where do they come from? What exactly are them? What is below them? When we do that, we can set a correct goal to recover from any emotional damages. And these emotional damages don't come immediately. They come slowly but surely. And after some time, we'll only notice the effect when it is too late to deal with. The most dangerous state we as South Africans can reach is this numbness to what is happening. I made mention of this. This is the state of apathy. We cannot reach a state of apathy thinking that there's nothing we can do. It's so far, Israel has barriers, walls, and all the power and influence. We have the power of numbers. We have the power of the truth. This power will overcome everything else. So we can't get apathetic. We can't think there's no ability or power with us. We have Allah with us. Hamas has Allah with us. The people of Gaza know they have Allah with them. Yes, it is a genocide what is happening there, but it is also a war because Hamas and the people of Gaza are fighting and they are strong. As little resources as they do have, my father tells me and insists that I understand him. The people of Gaza and the soldiers of Gaza and the Jundullah, These are the people that are fighting for the sake of Allah. They are an army. It is a war, and Gaza, we know, and the whole of Palestine will be free. We will win this war. It's not a matter of whether it is a genocide or not. We will win the war, and it won't be easy and won't be through just peace. We support peace, but we don't support injustice. And so Gaza and Palestine will win the war. And may Allah free Palestine. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shukran, Jazakallah, Zakaria. We've had, thank you for this interesting discussion. We now are going to be taking a break for Asr Namaz. So Azan will be going shortly. And at 4 p.m., we'll have Asr Jamaat. There are Salah facilities for men and ladies, as well as wudu facilities. It's on the right-hand side of the field at the tennis courts. The ladies section has been cordoned off. And that is where our namaz facilities are going to be. So that's now with Jamaat at 4 p.m. And then at 5 p.m., we're going to be having our next speaker event. So between Salah and 5 p.m., please do engage with our vendors and participate in all of our different activities. Also,